Good morning and welcome to Farm Factor. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom. Up first today, Kyle Bauer visits with Bob Dinneen with the Renewable Fuels Association. Then enjoy this week's Kansas Soybean update. Next, Duane Toews catches up with Leonard Jordan with NRCS. And after that, we'll learn how to know when fed cattle are finished. We'll end with Plain Talk featuring Kyle Bauer and Duane Toews. Stay with us.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Grain Sorghum. Growers working together. Find out more at kansasgrainsorghum.org.
Welcome to Farm Factor. Up first, Kyle Bauer and Bob Dinneen discuss the evolution of the renewable fuels industry over the last 30 years.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer. I have the opportunity to visit with Bob Dinneen, and he is with the Renewable Fuels Association. Quite honestly, Bob, when it comes to Renewable Fuels Association, your name is synonymous with that. You've worked with them for a long time.
Yeah, indeed. I've been there for almost 30 years now. When I started at the Renewable Fuels Association, the industry was producing about 600 million gallons. This year, we will produce more than 15 billion. So I've seen tremendous growth. I've seen tremendous evolution in the industry. I've seen just the industry become such an important part of value-added agriculture. It's been a rewarding experience.
Well, it's become a huge part of just public policy in general.
Oh, indeed. I mean, and many parts of public policy. It's not just about agriculture. It's also about energy security. It's about the environment. It's most certainly about carbon reduction and climate change. So we touch a lot of different parts, trade, and that's what makes the job a lot of fun, because you never know what you're going to be doing from day to day. Is it a trade dispute you're going to be dealing with? Is it something having to do with an energy issue that has come up? So it's day to day is a lot of fun.
A few years ago, there was a lot of debate in that public policy about food versus fuel, and the organization was trying to reassure people that there really wasn't a long-term issue with the trade-off between food and fuel, and I think today that's become obvious.
Well, thankfully it has become obvious. You're right. In 2012, when agriculture was going through one of the worst droughts in history, price of commodities obviously went up, and the food companies were blaming ethanol. They were blaming the renewable fuel standard that requires oil refiners to use some percentage of ethanol in their fuel. And they weren't blaming Mother Nature. Mm-hmm. And we were saying, oh, hold on a minute. Actually, because of the drought, ethanol production had indeed scaled back some, but there was still demand for ethanol. It was still economic to produce. But more importantly, what they were missing is when we produce ethanol from a bushel of corn, we're just using the starch in that corn kernel. I'm sort of a model for the fact that we have too much starch in our diet. What is left behind, though, is all the protein, all the vitamins, all the feed value in that corn kernel. And we produce, as well as ethanol, a high-value, high-protein feed that then goes to livestock markets across the country and indeed across the globe. And we're not just taking the feed value from the corn and dumping it in the ocean, it still goes to a market. So there is no food versus fuel dilemma. We produce food and fuel. These days, as farmers are producing the single largest corn crop in the nation's history, it's a darn good thing that there is a value-added market like ethanol to take some of that corn, process it, add value to it, and create these markets for farmers.
We're visiting with Bob Dinneen. He's with the Renewable Fuels Association. This is Kyle Bauer reporting. Back to you, Jamie.
Thanks, Kyle. Folks, come back after these messages for this week's Kansas Soybean Update.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Supply.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways. Of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at kfrm.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
This segment is brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Soybean Update.
This is the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Caleb Little, who is the Senior Communications Manager for the National Biodiesel Board, is joining us. And Caleb, it's safe to say in 2016, there was definitely a record market for the use of biodiesel.
You are absolutely right. 2.9 billion gallon biodiesel and renewable diesel market in 2016, almost 40% higher than the previous record. So pretty tremendous growth for the industry.
Where did we see the most growth at?
All across the country. We're the National Trade Association for the industry, and we have members in almost all 50 states. A large portion of biodiesel is produced right here in the Midwest, but we've seen growing volumes of production on the East Coast, West Coast, Texas, just all across the country. And those are jobs, those are industries that are supporting record number of jobs, more than 64,000 U.S. jobs supported by the biodiesel industry, more than $11 billion total economic impact.
And it's amazing to see getting into these major metropolitan areas, diesel and renewable diesel in all these places.
We've seen industry successes all across the country last year. City of New York increased the amount of biodiesel used in home heating oil, actually implemented a policy that is going to increase that up to 200 million gallons in the coming years. And out on the West Coast, we see states like California, Oregon, Washington passing state policies to try to clean up the air and reduce emissions.
It is amazing to see when you have those types of jobs that are related to the industry, wherever it may be, the economic benefits that come with it.
In our state, in Kansas, and in other Midwest states that are producing biodiesel, a lot of those facilities are in cornerstones of rural economies.
And we're seeing automakers really jump on board as well, even more, having more biodiesel-capable vehicles available.
The customer support from coast to coast for B20 is, we've seen successfully used in all makes and models, all diesel engines, all across the country. But some exciting news this year, General Motors is bringing an industry-leading lineup of 20 different diesel vehicle options to the market. And they set records by having all 20 of those models approved for B20. So you'll see biodiesel blends and all across their platforms, and not just in pickup trucks and cargo vehicles like we've seen in the past. They actually introduced 3 new diesel models in the Chevy Cruze, the small passenger car, and the Chevy Equinox and GMC Terrain. They're small SUVs, so really bringing diesel options to the general public.
Caleb Little, Senior Communications Manager with the National Biodiesel Board, has been our guest on the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Learn more at kansassoybeans.org. For Kansas Soybeans, I'm Greg Akagi.
Hope you enjoyed this week's Kansas Soybean Update. Stay with us after the break for more Farm Factor with Duane Toews and Leonard Jordan.
This Medford, New Jersey school bus runs on biodiesel, and so do these. In fact, all of these buses run on clean-burning biodiesel, which is great because the more we use biodiesel in our heavy-duty vehicles, the less carbon pollution in our air. Think how great it would be if more of our school buses ran on biodiesel. More biodiesel, less carbon pollution. More is less. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information. This segment brought to you by SureCrop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back. Now Duane and Leonard talk about how the Conservation Stewardship Program has been retooled after input from farmers.
Duane Toews joining you once again, Ag AM in Kansas, and a chance to catch up with Leonard Jordan with NRCS, talking about conservation programs. Leonard, obviously, the Natural Resources Conservation Service, it's in the name, conservation's the game, but an opportunity as of late to kind of retool one of the programs that really can have some big impact for producers.
Thank you very much, Duane, and we are very excited about the rollout on for this retooled and modified conservation stewardship program, which so happen to be one of the largest working land conservation programs in the world. We have north of 70 million acres that are enrolled, involving some thousands of farmers and ranchers all over the country. So we're very excited about the new look that people will see.
Can you tell us a little bit about specifics of the program, changes that growers are going to see, and what it means to them and their conservation efforts on their working lands?
You know, first of all, the program has been very successful. But for the last couple of years, we have been soliciting and getting feedback from producers to ask the question of, you know, what if the program is working well for you, but what are some of the things that you would like to see us consider in order for it to be even more effective, for you to benefit more from it? And then one of the things they talked about was greater flexibility. Example, in the past program, if we enter into an agreement with producers to say they were going to put in certain practices this year or that year, the flexibility wasn't there that if something happened they wanted to change. To change, it basically mean that the contract had to be terminated. So we heard from them. They said, you know, things like weather patterns we can't control. There are things in the operation of a farm that just have to change periodically. And if we had that nimbleness within the program, we felt that would make it much, much more effective. So we heard what they said and we incorporated it in. So that's one thing on flexibility. And the other thing was simplicity. And that came from the producers as well as our own staff, because what they were saying is that give us ability to be able to sit down with a producer and be able to thoroughly explain the intricacies of the program for which they understand. First of all, we understand enough that we can do it, but then they understand. So at the end of the day, after we've explained it, they know exactly what the criteria are, how it will impact them. And at the end of the day, you know, if there were dollars associated, which it would be, you know, what potential dollars they could potentially receive as a result entering into this agreement for this program. So that's simplicity. So we incorporated that into it.
Leonard, we think about making programs work. Obviously, you referenced some key points to that, simplicity and flexibility. Despite the fact that NRCS, a government organization and entity, they really do have producers and the environment's best interest in mind.
Indeed we do. And first of all, I'd like to say that the volunteer producers around the country, they have the best interest of society and the environmental benefits in mind as well. They want to do the right thing. So our role is simply to work with them, to provide them incentive, provide them with tools that equip them, enable them to do that. But one component that we believe in, and that is we listen to the local concerns. We listen to the local people. And again, that's the example that I use for improving this program. We listen to them on other programs as well. You know, what are the concerns in the local community? What are the things as an agency we need to do to enable you to be successful? We listen, we try to incorporate, and we will continue to do that.
Well, our thanks to Leonard Jordan joining us from Natural Resources Conservation Service, NRCS. For Ag AM in Kansas, Duane Toews reporting. Jamie, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Duane. Coming up after the break are suggestions about when to know fed cattle are finished.
Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego is driven by the spirit of American ingenuity. Come in for a new Chevrolet car, truck, or SUV. If we don't have exactly what you want, we'll find it for you. And we also have a great selection of used cars. We make sure you have an easy, fun, and transparent sales experience that saves you time and money. But if you want high-pressure salesmen and hours spent in the finance office, you'll just have to go elsewhere. Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're making car buying great again.
No matter where, no matter why, the Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help?
How can we help?
As fourth-generation farmers themselves, Heinen Brothers Ag Service understands the risk and rewards of farming. So when it comes to quality aerial and ground application, fertilizer, ag chemicals, and anhydrous ammonia, call Heinen Brothers Ag today, 800-760-4964.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and a look at the later stages of the beef production chain.
Cattle have changed. If your management hasn't, animal scientist Robbie Pritchard suggests you look to be sure it's still relevant. Take cattle finish, for example.
The definition of when cattle are finished is actually entirely up to us. That we're still learning how to be better at our business, and we don't quite have all of the pieces in play. All the pieces are in play, but we don't have them in the right proportions to necessarily be able to accomplish all the things we would like to do. Our pricing structure and some of our traditional management strategies will have to change going forward.
Smaller framed cattle on poor nutrition used to need more feed per pound of gain toward the end of the finishing period. Average daily gain would slow while cost of gain increased.
When I started my career, when a steer was finished, their intakes would begin to level off or drop. And they became very inefficient, so it was more profitable to sell them before that happened. Today, between the genetic potential for growth of the cattle and the improvement in the management of the cattle, they don't reach that tailing off point. So our cost of gain, even on overly finished cattle, is still cost effective. So we have to have a different reason that we decide that pen is finished.
The animal scientist says carcass size might be one of those new reasons.
And the discounts aren't enough to scare us away on carcass size, but the packer could just, rather than raise the discounts, they may just say, we don't need your cattle, they're too big. Not having a place to sell them becomes a big problem.
Profit potential on new sets of cattle might also be motivation to harvest a finished set.
If I feed these cattle another 30 days, maybe I'll make another $10 per head. If I market these cattle now and replace them with cattle that would make me $50 a head, let's change over to the more profitable group.
There are also consumer demands, such as portion size and plating preferences, to consider. To learn more, visit cabpartners.com. I'm Jenna McCrell.
Come back after the break for this week's Plain Talk.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
Clyde Sutton, Ness City, Kansas.
Lived on this place all my life. About a year and a half ago, got to where I couldn't saddle a horse. The pain was terrible. Read about stem cell. First it wasn't for me, then they started doing neck and back. Before I went down to Manhattan, the pain I was having from my neck down to my hand was curling my hand back. Some people had thought I almost had a stroke, and my shoulder had drawn up. I couldn't lift, I couldn't sleep, I really couldn't do anything, and was scheduled to be operated on, but was scared of the knife, I guess. Went and had it done. As you can see, I saddled a horse. I'm still building fence. Love to shoot a shotgun rifle, and I'm able to participate, not like I used to, but nevertheless I can do the things I used to do. And I want to personally thank the doctors, nurses, staff at Kansas Regenerative Medicine for the opportunity they give me to have my life back again.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Welcome back. Now let's see what Kyle and Duane are up to today on Plain Talk.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer with Plain Talk with Duane Toews.
Kyle Bauer, your
mine
fact or fiction question of the day. Kansas resides in the top 10 agriculture-producing states in the U.S. Fact or fiction?
Oh, fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking Iowa, California.
Okay. You're doing good.
Minnesota. Chicago,
okay.
or
Chicago. Chicago's not a
Illinois.
State.
They think they're a state.
Yeah.
Illinois.
Okay, those are all ahead of us, ahead of Kansas.
Did I say Texas?
I don't know if you did or not, but that's another one that's ahead of us.
Okay.
There's only one more ahead of us.
Okay. Michigan?
No.
Yeah, I said Minnesota and Iowa and Illinois, and I don't think it's South Dakota.
No.
No?
No.
How about North Carolina?
They're one behind us.
One behind us.
But still in the top
All
10.
right.
They'd be number 8, so we're number 7. You're missing number 4, and they're
Nebraska.
There you go.
The Nebraskans at all.
No offense to the Cornhuskers, but
yeah. And so, how many am I missing out of the top 10?
You're missing 9 and 10.
I'm missing 9 and 10.
One of them you might have said already. I don't think you did, though.
You think I did?
I don't think you did.
Okay. Well, I got off on the livestock thing.
They're kind of in that same area.
That same area is what? I went all the way from North Carolina to
California.
California.
Several kind of right
up. Oh, okay. Ohio, Indiana.
Indiana's number 10.
And I got nothing.
Think cheese.
Oh, Wisconsin, really?
Yeah, number 9.
Really? Huh. I was just up there not long ago, and certainly there is a lot of agriculture in the southern half of the state, but I thought as you went north,
got pretty woody.
I thought, I didn't get far enough to see
to really know whether it did or not.
No, because where I was, it was all still farmland.
That is one of the things that I wish I've been to a lot of states in the United States, not to all of them, but a fair part of what I've done was kind of fly over, fly through, or in the dark,
drive it at night.
Yeah, and haven't really got to experience and see.
When
it's been on the interstate if I was driving at all, which isn't always
terrible, but
it's not always a great predictor.
When we went bear hunting, we drove down in the daylight. We drove back more or less at night, which you don't see anything.
Right.
But we came back at night on interstate, and we went on the daylight on 2 lanes.
Well, there you go.
And
that'd be a great way to go.
It was great. The panhandle of Texas, I have not gotten to spend very much time down there. You were in awe of how much cotton there was around Lubbock.
Yes.
I'm here to tell you were not exaggerating.
Yeah.
It was awe-inspiring.
I was
And then
shocked.
we went more or less west. Well, we got lost a little bit and went to Hobbs, and the area between Hobbs and Artesia, I had never in my life begun in any even close to have seen how many oil wells there was. And it turns out from asking some questions, there's 3 oil fields on top of each other.
Different depths.
Yes, because literally you would see oil wells, oil pumps, one beside the other one.
It's like, what?
Yeah,
Couldn't you put a bigger one just to take out more and a bigger pipe?
This one's going down this far. Well, now with horizontal drilling, you don't have to necessarily have them as close together. But anyway, I kid you not, I will bet you there was 50,000 if there was 50,000 oil wells in that 50 miles.
Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. See you next week on Farm Factor. We're here every Tuesday on Ag AM in Kansas.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.